Indigenous Rights Radio, because knowledge is power.
Vemuganga Community Radio, FM 106.8, is a grassroots media initiative based in Chipinge district in southeastern Zimbabwe. Established in 2012, it primarily serves the Ndau-speaking community, an ethnic group known for its deeply rooted cultural and traditional values. The station was founded to amplify local voices, preserve Ndau cultural heritage, and provide relevant, credible, and accessible information in the community's own language and formats. Historically, Chipinge has been marginalized in national media coverage, leaving communities with limited access to timely and accurate information. Vemuganga Community Radio has played a transformative role in bridging this gap by ensuring consistent and community-centered dissemination of news, educational programming, and cultural content. We spoke to the station manager of Vemuganga Radio.
My name is Clarice Maduk from Chipinge district of Manicaland province in Zimbabwe. I'm a native Ndau. Ndau is an indigenous language of Chipinge district. It is important to note that Ndau as a language was officially recognized in 2013 in the Constitution of Zimbabwe. So Zimbabwe currently has 16 official languages, which includes Ndau. But before 2013, Ndau was one of the minority languages that was not recognized. It had to be recognized in the Constitution of Zimbabwe through lobbying and advocacy by such ethnic and indigenous groups in Zimbabwe that were advocating for their minority languages to be recognized officially. I am the station manager of Vemuganga. To some people, being a station manager is more like being the coordinator. Vemuganga Community Radio was birthed by members of Chipinge district or natives of Chipinge district who were advocating for Ndau to be recognized, because despite the fact that there were many Ndau people, their language, Ndau, was never recognized, which was the case in 2013. So in 2014, Vemuganga Community Radio was registered in terms of its legal existence as a trust. We continued to advocate until in 2021, when Vemuganga was officially licensed by the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe. It is a grouping that officially regulates the operation of community radios within the media. It also regulates televisions. It also regulates newspapers and so forth. So the Vemuganga Community Radio has existed so far for around 13 years, of which we talk of the last 3 years on air, because although we were licensed in 2021, we started to be on air in 2023. So from 2023 to 2026, we talk of close to 3 years on air. So we broadcast from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., which is 18 hours per day.
Clarice Maduku told us about some of the challenges that he and the staff of the station experience.
Some of the challenges that I have experienced as the station manager of Vemuganga Community Radio relates to 4 layers. The first one is financial. As a community radio, it has been very difficult to meet our day-to-day operational costs. This relates to having our volunteers traveling to the station, coming to the station to offer their service. They operate in terms of shifts, 3-hour shifts. Because most of them are volunteers, they are youth, young people who are coming from universities or who are out of school, those who are not employed. So they come to offer their services. Sometimes they need food to eat during the time that they are managing their shifts. So some of these costs, which are day to day, we have not been able to meet them. Also because the community radios are operating on a non-profit. We don't operate to get profit. We offer service to the community freely. So these day-to-day costs are high. And also some of the volunteers also expect to be rewarded, to be remunerated at the end of the month, so that they are also able to meet their day-to-day needs at home. So these expectations that parents have on their children or on the volunteers who are coming to work sometimes is overbearing, and it is a real challenge. Then the second one is the regulatory. We operate with the Broadcasting Services Act, which expects that community radios pay annual subscriptions, and it also regulates our editorial policy. So it restricts the independence that community radios need to have. Our governance system in Zimbabwe is highly centralized. So most of the laws, they are made at the center. So there is a lot of censorship on what community radio should broadcast. The government of the day wants to control the narrative in terms of how these community radios are operating. So in that, sometimes this narrative promotes the ideas of the ruling party, which ends up becoming political. So it restricts, it takes away some of the independence we need to promote Ndau as a language and the ethnical existence and the identity of the Ndau people, which is the objective of the existence. The third is technical challenge. The technical challenge has to do with the transmission. So you find that when we were licensed in 2021, we had to get our transmission now to 40 square kilometer radius after 2 years when we were licensed. And some of our community radios, they are still operating on 10 square kilometers. So these technical issues also relates to poor network. Sometimes you find that even when you are on air, the network will be fairly poor, or in some areas they have network, sometimes they don't have network. So these technical issues are problematic. And you find that our listeners, sometimes they give feedback on these challenges. When there is no electricity, some of them machines, they don't operate efficiently. Then the last of the challenges is itemized is the political hurdles. These are political interference. Zimbabwean political activities sometimes are based on the election issues, which goes into community members who are political leaders, members of parliament or ministers. Sometimes they pursue their authority to wanting to come and control the way the community radios operate. So by doing that, some of the stories, some of the news that we are supposed to deal with, they may be deemed or they may be seen as highly sensitive or highly political. So these are some of the things that ends up affecting the way we operate. So overall, these challenges in terms of leadership level, it affects our personnel. For the community to run efficiently, we need skilled personnel, those that are trained, who are able to operate the machines, who are also able to handle the machines when they have challenges. those who are able to withstand political pressure, or those who are able to also become investigative journalism. They bring information in the news that are current, and those that are also able to adapt to the digital era. So if we don't have enough financial stability, we sometimes have staff turnover. So because we depend on voluntary staff, this has been the challenge, that we always have new members every year. Although it helps that these are from the local community, but as soon as they get experienced, as soon as they get confident, they're taken by other institutions that can pay them more than we pay. So if we don't deal with our financial situation, we will always have these challenges. Then the other has to do with also rentals. We are not operating on our premises. We have been given space by the local authority, the district authority, to when they have also been experienced that our work is doing very well. We are providing service to the community, but we would need to then have this stand finished and to build the new studio. So that on its own gives us the challenge of paying rentals every month when the income flow is very much limited. So all this would need us to invest in training so that we have personnel that loves the station and can stay longer, and that we have our own place which can sustain the community radio. Because if you continuously rent, if the landlord feels they want to use their space for other things, they may end up disadvantaging the community. So these are some of the things that, as a station manager, as a leader, we always feel. Here and there, these challenges are neutralized by the board, because our governance system has the board. Those who are established within the community, those who have good reputation as native people from Chipinge, they help us to administer. Sometimes they fundraise for us. Sometimes they also give us some donations to try and cushion the challenges. But the biggest of the challenges remains the state control and the regulatory environment, because it would need us to continuously work to overcome these challenges.
We asked Clarice what the station means to the people of Chipinge.
To the people of Zimbabwe, and in particular people of Chipinge, the radio station means so much. We have been lobbying to have Ndau recognized as an official language for a long time. So having the community radio is more like a dream come true. Now people of Chipinge has an identity to say we are Ndau, and Ndau is officially recognized. Beyond that, most people feel the community radio is more like a lifeline. It has become an information hub. When you need information about things that are happening at local level, you tune to the radio, you interact with the radio. On that ticket, the community radio becomes an information hub. That's where you can get information which is educative, which is informative. Then the third point has to do with the culture. There are so much within Chipinge that we're kind of being lost as the community. We're losing up on their identity, on their language. Because when the language is not being officialized, you go to school, you learn Shona, you don't get instructions using your own language. So there's so much that was lost, which is now being protected. So the community has become more like a cultural pillar. Then the third point has to do with the community radio is able to address most of the situations that the community was feeling that it was being neglected. Chipinge district continuously experiences a lot of disasters that are climate related, and the community radio has come up to replace that in the form of early warning signs, safety information, and conversations to provide solutions. So that has become very key, because Chipinge, like most of the times, there are disasters, there are cyclones, Elaine, cyclone Idai, cyclone Japheth, there are many cyclones, there are many floods, there are many disasters. And through the community radio now, most of these things have been cushioned. People now have information that makes them aware, that assists them to prepare disaster preparedness. So the radio is that which has become a solution to the problems of the community. And the community radio has also been able to offer social development and advocacy. And these advocates come in the form of advocates on health issues, advocates on education, advocates within agriculture, and then it, as a station, has assisted to deal with the disparities within the gender, youth, and those who are living with disabilities. Like it has covered for the minorities, those who failed, they were never a recognized voice, or those who thought or believed that they were forgotten. The community radio has come to save for that. Currently, in terms of the social issues, Chipinge has been receiving a lot of child marriages, those who get married when they are very young, or those who get pregnant when they are still teens. And in dealing with that, when these social ills, including those people who go against the moral fabric of the communities, like native communities like Ndau, they are very conservative. So some of these things were being lost because people were following other cultures that are not their culture. Now that there is the community radio, people feel more protected, feel this is something that is coming to protect our identity. So the community radio is seen by the community as their identity, as a dream come true, and that they are no longer forgotten people. They have an identity, something that they are proud of as their own.
On World Radio Day, we appeal to you to support our work so that we can make a difference where it is most needed, at radio stations like Vemuganga in Zimbabwe. For more on the rights of indigenous peoples, visit cs.org and follow Cultural Survival on Facebook and X.